Alright, welcome back to another episode of Henry's Running Late. Oh man, it's funny. No, but for real though, ever since I've gotten this GoPro, I have done two things. Always been late and forgetting to strap my helmet before I leave. I don't know why. It makes no sense. But I'm not liking it. Anyways, welcome back. It's a beautiful day. I'm excited to be riding on the streets today. It was pretty nice last night. Yesterday was a rainy day. It was really rainy during the day, but then it ended up getting really nice in like the early evening kind of deal, late afternoon. It was awesome. So today we're looking at like, I think a high of like 80s, but it's supposed to be like really windy, so, and I can already tell it is very windy, it looks like. Dang, I thought this light was gonna go for me like it normally does, but no luck this time. Anyways, oh, there's people out on the river. Nice. I did want to talk about something today. So, kind of, I feel like all I'll ever talk about is controversial topics regarding motorcycles, but this one is like, I would say probably one of the more controversial motorcycle discussions, debates, at least from what I can tell. This is what I think. So I'm wondering, should you wear, how much gear, or should you wear any gear, or how much gear should you wear when riding a motorcycle? And does it depend on multiple things, like, you know, how far you're riding, how fast you're going to be going, whatnot, or even just what bike you have in general? So I kind of want to give some thoughts on that. I'll start by explaining the gear I'm wearing. So I have a full face helmet. It's a modular helmet, but I never ride with it in the open face module. I never ride with it open face. I think it looks stupid first and foremost. It's weirdly weighted. The weight is like weirdly balanced, and then also it's just kind of inconvenient for the wind and everything. So I wear a full face helmet. I'm wearing these gloves, kind of just a cheapo pair I bought on Amazon. Not really anything super high tech, super special. I know some people, oh, cute doggo, hey doggy. I know some people get like really expensive, those gloves that go up a little further on your arm. And I have a second pair of gloves that I wear for the winter. Those are a little bit longer, a little bit bigger. I don't know if they really provide much more protection. They're more so just mainly cold protection thing. So those are the two pieces of gear I always wear. That's what I'm riding with. That's kind of my bare minimum, and that's what I'm currently riding with. I do have a full set of gear. Oh, I should mention my shoes. I normally wear a pair of these pretty, I'd say, thick boots. They're kind of like a stylish boot more than like a functional boot, but I normally do wear those. But I really don't, the shoes I don't really like go too hard on, especially when I'm just riding to school. But normally when I'm taking longer rides, like if I'm in my max level of gear, I do wear a pair of thick boots. And then most of my commutes I do wear a pair of these lighter, stylish style boots. So that's what I kind of run. Like I said, I do have a pair of full gear. I have a jacket and pants with padding. Not the best set of gear, like I said, kind of another cheapo on Amazon, but I had to do what I can do on a budget, you know. So I think that gear is textile, is what it's classified as. So that's kind of my gear rundown of what I have and what I use. So you can probably already kind of start to see my stance on this thing. But I'll start by talking about like different creators and stuff. So I'm a big Dan fireman guy. I like watching his videos. I think he's very educational. He's a very good academic, and he does a really good job of explaining things scientifically, and you know, he almost over explains a lot of concepts, which I don't think is bad, but he has a definition for pretty much everything. So I watch him a lot, and he's a big advocate of riding with full gear, right? He doesn't always say, you know, ride with full gear, but he always says, you know, have your gear. It's part of like his fundamental structure, you know, kind of planning your ride. And I think the P in that stands for protect yourself or something like that, or maybe prepare for your, I don't know what it is, but he's a very big advocate for wearing gear. And then obviously there's some people on YouTube that probably don't ever wear gear, and usually it's the people you see in the wreck videos where they're wearing short sleeves and no gloves, whatever. But nonetheless, and then I watch a lot of Yammy Noob too, and I think he's kind of like indifferent about it, like, because, you know, I think he's an advocate for gear, but I think he's a little bit more lenient with it than someone like DDFM, because he's not necessarily focused solely on like safety of motorcyclists. I'm not saying he's not, but he's not, that's not like his main thing like DDFM's is. But Yammy Noob, he kind of like, you know, if you're someone riding around in full gear all the time on the street and you never actually take anything to the track, you know, like kind of what are you doing? That's gross, dead bird. But yeah, there's different sides to it. I feel like I kind of fall somewhere in the middle. I'm never gonna not wear a helmet. I have gone on this motorcycle and actually rode it one time without a helmet, and that was when it was just coming out of the dead of winter, and I was just trying to get the bike started from it being really cold, and I took it like down the street and back. I didn't go up above 12 miles an hour, right? And so that I'm always gonna ride with a helmet. That's my standard, which I think a lot of people have, which is good. In my state, it is not required to have helmets, and so a lot of people here in Iowa don't actually wear helmets when they ride, which is kind of unfortunate, but I don't know. I'll always ride with a helmet, and I will probably always ride with gloves. I'll definitely always ride with gloves, mainly because of the grip thing, and also because your hands are so sensitive, especially when it's like a little bit chillier out. So I'll always ride with gloves. But as an example, right now, I'm not going to be riding in full gear all the time. When I'm commuting to class and, you know, going just across town, low mile per hour, maybe like 40 max, I'm not going to wear full gear. And I simply do that because I don't really think it's worth my time and effort, because it's such low risk when I'm, you know, I know I'm in traffic, but it's such low speeds and everything, lower speeds, I guess. So I personally don't think I need to wear gear for everyday commutes. And that's also because I have such a short commute. Like, you know, a 10-minute drive is not really, and then having to spend like probably like 5 to 10 minutes at home just getting my stuff on, getting full gear on. And then you have the fact that I'm going to class, so I have to deal with like, okay, where am I gonna put all this crap? I already had to figure out a little rig for my helmet, you know, to put on the side of my bike and lock it on there. So that's kind of my ideology there, is I'm not gonna wear full gear when it's small commutes, but whenever I go on like a planned ride, like I'm planning on just going around and cruising, I'm gonna put my full gear on. And some of my friends even like that do ride, they're kind of just like, oh, what the heck, I'd never wear all that stuff, you know. But if I'm going out and I'm doing something that is unfamiliar, like if I'm going on a road that's unfamiliar, I'm going on just like an exploration cruise, I'm always gonna wear full gear now. So that's kind of my take on it. I don't necessarily think it's bad. If anything I had to say, I would say people should wear helmets. That should be the requirement, because it's stupid to get in some petty accident, like some little petty low side or something, and and you die because you don't have a helmet on and you slide down and whip your head against the ground. So I think helmets should be kind of a thing that all people wear, but I don't really have a preference. If you know, some people make the argument that, like, if you're not wearing gear, you're endangering others, or other people have to deal with, scraping your body off the side of the road, stuff like that, which is fair. I think that's a fair argument. So, but I'm not necessarily at that extreme, is what I'm saying. I'm not necessarily at that extreme because I'm more of like, letting people choose what they want to do. But at a certain point, you got to understand the implications that it has on the rest of the public. First off, economically, I mean, obviously, and then additionally, just like, if you go out and you get in an accident with just a driver there, and you end up dying or something, it can be pretty serious for someone. I actually knew somebody who, not really closely, but he was a guy that worked closely at our high school with us, with a program I was in, and he killed a motorcyclist driving, and he never was the same after that kind of thing happened. And so I think you have to consider others and not just yourself when you're choosing to ride with gear or ride without gear. But like I said, I'm kind of more middle ground on it because I don't necessarily think you should force people to wear stuff. I think if anything, helmet law would be fine. I mean, basically everywhere. I think we're like one of only couple states that actually have a no helmet law. I know some states do like some weird stuff, like if you're under 18, you have to wear a helmet. I don't know if that's the exact specifics of it, but it's something along those lines. But no, I think you should just focus on protecting yourself, and you should ride with what you're comfortable with, ride with what you're comfortable with, but also take into consideration others that might have to deal with your mess, even if you think you're such a good rider. And I think that's what this ultimately comes down to, is a lot of people think they're too good of riders, they don't need gear, they're never going to get in an accident. But I completely disagree with that. It's an unpredictable road. You never know what's going to happen. So it's not really up to you to decide and say, oh, I'm certain I'm not going to get in an accident. That's not fair for you to say because you're not certain. You can't be certain about it. It's the unpredictable nature of riding on the road. So anyways, I'm going to call it quits. I'm going to get inside and get training. So hope you guys have a nice day. Enjoy yourselves.